Dear colleagues and dear chairman, I'm here today to present a presentation on risk on lobbying activity done by the pharmaceutical companies, and this risk was analyzed through an open database that is present in the United States since 2013. President Barack Obama signed an act called Patient Protection Affordable Care Act. This act, signed in 2010, was the beginning of a new system to analyze and show transparency in the money transfer between pharmaceutical companies and the medical doctors, hospital, and so on. All these data are open data and they are available to the entire world through the Center of Medicare and Medicaid Service, especially through the Open Payments Federal Program. And what is our aim? We want to understand how is these relationships between pharmaceutical companies and the medical doctors, and we select a small part of these databases. Our main aim is to understand if there is a risk of lobbying of this pharmaceutical company, because if I get money when the company gain money, there can be a risk of my transparency. Okay, every step we do will be the same graphic, but we apply the island method. That means that we select a parameter, and along this parameter, if it's high or low, we filter lines or dots in the graphic. So it's always the same type of graphic, the dots never moves. They just disappear or appear depending on our filters. So we will see the same picture in different prospects. As we can see here, we here divided two types of dots. We have actually dots that are the physicians, and we have triangles that are actually company. We don't see line, of course, because the line that we see is the connection between a company and a doctor. So see that in one we filter the company, in the other one we filter doctors, there is no line anymore. And the line is unidirectional line, because it's an open payment project is only reported the money that the company is giving to the doctors, and there is no money back to the company. So the graphic that we see here is a composite graphic, because we have two different type of dots. Actually, the correct name is vertex. Here we start to filter it by different parameters, and we can see here that we filter for a minimum $10,000 value. As you can see, the graphics is similar to before, but we lost the dark blue area. That means that all those lines were connected with a small amount of value investment. On the opposite side, we can see that the others are with higher valued money transfer. I want to focus also that each line is one single money transfer. So if I have a company that is giving money to 3-4 doctors, a sort of star, where the central star is the pharmaceutical company and the doctors are around receiving the money. We filter the same graphic by two transactions. So we actually only checking the dots, the doctors, they are receiving 2 or more transactions, or 5 or more transactions. What we can see here, that the dark blue area, it's present, it's actually only the only area that is present over 5. That means that adding this information to the previous one, that this dark blue area, it's done by small amount of money, but it's done frequently. If you remember, this is only few months at the end of 5 months at the end of the year. So we have a small amount of transaction to the same people from the same type of company, and they are very low, below 10,000. But of course, if I add small amount in few transactions, I have a bigger amount. Here we filter the same graphics by the out degree transaction. So in the previous one we were seeing the doctors receiving money, the in degree. Here we are actually checking the out degree. So the company, they are giving money and based on transaction. So we actually see that we filter for 10 or 100 transactions, and we can see that the companies that are doing a lot of this transaction are actually the one placed in the dark blue area. Here we can see that this is another measure, it's called between centrality, and is like a bridge. We are asking who is actually making a bridge between companies and who has the highest statistical data to show that it is a bridge between companies. And this is the high between centrality, and see that some of the doctors of the blue area are actually connected with the light blue company as well. On this slide, we can actually see eigenvector centrality. The eigenvector centrality is a measure that shows relationships in groups, and it's defined as a gray cardinal. Gray cardinal is a figure that have small, few contacts with people that have a lot of contacts. This usually is explained well, like in the mafia context, like Corleone. So here in the next slide, we can actually see we stratify the groups. We ask to create clusters, and the computer create us through a statistical analysis some cluster, actually 123 cluster, and we can see that how many people and companies are inside these clusters. And we can see from the highest one is G1, the one with more vertex inside, to the lowest one. And we can see that the biggest compact area is G1, followed by G2, but like G1 have 250 vertex around, like the other one is around 100. So what we have done here, we just select the first 15 groups, the biggest groups, just to have a clear idea. And here we can see, so the same graphic with a smaller number of groups. It's clear from the image that most of these groups, actually 14 over 15, have the same structure, that is a star system. We have a central star, that is the company, that is paying several doctors. But so actually we would expect this type of structure. Well, what we would not expect is the nebula, the dark blue area that is there, that is G1. So here we can see different groups, how many internal arcs, group connection there is inside the group. And we can see that G1 is the one with more internal arcs, so that means that they have a lot of connection between them. While the second graph on the right shows us the external arch, how this group is connected with the rest of the environment, the other network. And we see that G1 is quite high. But the most important part is how well connected is G1 between its vertex. So we analyze now not the first 15, but the first two groups, the most numerous groups in the network. And we have G1 and G2. We start from G2, group 2, and we see that this is the light blue area, and we have the structure with the central company and several doctors around it. And this structure was clearly expected. But we can see on the graphic on the side, on the pie, that the type of involvement between the company and the doctors is a preferred stock. A preferred stock is a special stock exchange action that where if the company produces money, this doctor will gain money before other investors in the stock exchange market. But if the company loses money, they will not lose anything. So it's a safe area for doctors. The second, the first group actually is G1, and is the most interesting one, because here we don't have the single star. We have several companies inside the nucleus of this nebula, and actually are only 8 companies. These 8 companies are interacting through the same doctors all the time, most with a small amount of money or small amount of investment, and with a lot of small transactions. So our the Excel shows us this type of structure, and so we actually ask ourselves, what type of industries are there? The inside of the industry inside the nucleus are actually 8 different companies, where we can see that 3 of them are all laser surgery companies, and other 4 are cryosurgery companies, and 1 is a medical service company. And if we actually think about from the medical point of view, we can actually see that the laser and the cryo actually do a very similar job. They make a scar, one using the heat and one using the cold, but actually the function is the same, is to create a scar. So now we want to see what type of company of value transfer is actually inside, and actually we can see that is 98% is a membership unit in a limited liability company ownership interest. What actually is this? This is usually a small company where they give membership, a sort of equity, but with limited liability. That means that if the company creates a damage, this membership will not suffer from this damage. They will be not involved. And at the same time, they are not involved, but they get money before any other else because they are members. So at the end of this, we see that social network analysis actually create 123 clusters with different structure and size, and we actually understand the 2 biggest groups and their structure and the different type of transaction they're actually using, and the quantity of money and the frequency, and also we actually underline the strategic plan. In the group 2, we have big transactions to several let's say in one solution. In the other one, we have high frequency transaction with a small amount with people that are actually working with all these type of companies. So even if there are 7 or 8 companies, they're actually working as a team, like it was one. So also using different centrality method, we could understand the most influential cluster in the network. In this case, it was G1. And we could also identify the type of industry and even the name of this industry that we will not show during this presentation. So for conclusion, our results show that social network analysis is useful to unreveal interaction between pharmaceutical company and physician, but also to unreveal potential risk of lobbying activity in the pharmaceutical world and medical field. So I would like to thank you for your kind interaction, and sorry that I was not be able to be in Boston for this presentation. Thank you very much. If anybody of you want to collaborate, they can write me on the email. Thank you very much.